Welcome. Welcome to Manifesting. I'm Josiah Samuel Harry. I'm the author of Choose Love, Not Hate. And I say yes. Let's talk about 6 ways to change your paradigm. First, let's define paradigm. What is a paradigm? A paradigm, according to the late Bob Proctor, one of my mentors, a paradigm is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior. And get this, almost all of our behavior is habitual. So a paradigm is that mental program that's always playing in the background, responsible for the habits that we engage in on a daily basis. So let's take someone who grew up in an athletic home where both parents played sports, college sports, pro sports. The kids are all playing sports. Every minute of their day is spent playing and engaging in some sport activity. To an outsider looking at that family, that might seem a little odd. All that family does is play sports every single day. Everyone else is going to work, but they're at the gym. They're at the playground. They're at the park. Sports, sports, sports. Everything is sports. You come to their home, they have 6 televisions, and all of the televisions are tuned into some sports broadcast. That's the paradigm of that family, and that will likely be the paradigm of those children. Let's look at another family where both parents are engineers. Their children likely have a higher aptitude for science and math in relation to other families, other kids. Why? Because that's the programming, that's the paradigm of that family, that's the paradigm of that kid. And that kid is going to go through school and whiz through math and science with ease. Why? Because that's the construct from which that kid grew up. That's all that kid knows. And for them, it's second nature. They don't have to think about math or science. They just do, because that's the mental programming playing in the background governing their actions. So while that other kid who did not grow up in that household have to study day and night just to figure out the simple formula, solving equations come to her easily because that's all she saw. That's all she knows. You can take an American Caucasian kid right at birth, fly that kid to China, have Chinese parents raise that kid for the first several years of that kid's life. Guess what? That kid will be fluent in Mandarin or Cantonese, like a native Chinese.
Fish dumpling. Oh. 呢個好食定係呢個好食？
Why? Because that's the paradigm that kid grew up under. That was the paradigm that was impressed on that kid. All of us grew up under certain paradigms, and the paradigm is what controls our behavior, and out of our behavior come the results, the happenings, the outcomes, the effects that we experience in life. And oftentimes a person wants better, they want to change their life, but they don't know how, because there's that program, that paradigm that's controlling every aspect of their behavior. Let's look at another example where you have both parents are wealthy. They came from wealthy backgrounds. Well, the kids are going to grow up in a context defined by wealth. There are certain things that will naturally come easy for the kids on account of the paradigm that those kids lived in and lived from, versus the kid who grew up in abject poverty. Well, that kid is going to see life totally differently from that kid who grew up with privilege. And it's neither of those kids' fault. The kid who grew up wealthy, it's not her fault that she grew up wealthy. It's not her fault that her parents were wealthy and gave her a head start in life and gave her everything that she needed. And the kid that grew up poor, it's not his fault that his parents were poor and did not give him a head start. What's common between both scenarios is there is a paradigm that both kids are going to operate and live their lives from. Now, despite one's background, despite a person's upbringing, despite what was presented and given to that individual from birth all the way till adolescent, even till young adulthood, even into adulthood, a person can change his or her paradigm if that's what that person wants to do. Here are the 6 ways to change your paradigm. Number 1, know what you want. That's the first thing. If you were to do a poll and just walk around randomly, go to a shopping mall, go to a plaza, and just ask people randomly, what do you want? You will be tickled by the responses. And we're not talking about asking kids, just ask adults. Ask them, what do you want out of life? What do you want for yourself? And you'll find so many people fumbling and stumbling and not being able to articulate exactly what they want to do and what they want from life. In order to change your paradigm, you must know what you want. That has to be clear as crystal. There is no clarity for living if you do not know what you want. You must know what you want. Number 2, you must know where you are. You have to know where you are. When I lived in a state of poverty, I knew exactly where I was because I saw my results. It was not hard for me to figure out where I was because every time a bill came and I could not pay that bill, I knew exactly where I was. Every time a bill collector called, I was reminded of where I was, so I knew where I was. So number 1, you must know what you want. Number 2, you must know where you are. Number 3, you must know where you're headed. Where do you want to go? What do you want your life to look like 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now? If you don't know what you want, if you don't know where you are, you're likely not going to know where you're headed. Where do you want to go? What matters most to you in this life? So we're talking about 6 ways to change your paradigm. Number 1, know what you want. Number 2, know where you are. Number 3, know where you're headed. So I remember the early days when I used to travel from state to state. We only had maps. We had no GPS. So I would pull up a map that pinpointed exactly where I was, and I knew exactly where I wanted to go. And from point A, where I was, to point B, where I was headed, I would plot out my route and figure out the best way, the quickest way, the most efficient way to get to my destination. But think about this. If I did not know where I was, how would I ever know where I was headed? So number 1, know what you want. Number 2, know where you are. Number 3, know where you're headed. Number 4, you must move in that direction. So it's not enough to simply know that you're point A trying to get to point B. Having that information and not doing anything about it is useless. You have to move in the direction of your definite chief aim, dreams, and desires. Having a great idea is one thing. Acting upon that idea is another thing. You must move in the direction of your purpose. Number 5, find a mentor or a coach. As you begin to move in the direction that you've set, have a navigator with you. A navigator makes life a whole lot easier. Most of my trips, I had a navigator with me, and that navigator's job was to keep me on track, keep me on the right route. That person knew the best time to leave from point A, what time to avoid traffic, when there would be roadblocks, when there would be construction, when there would be some unexpected hazards. Because that person had navigated that route so many times, it was easy for that person to give me direction and say, listen, okay, trust me, I've done this before. I've been on this path many, many, many times. For many people who are self-starters, they're self-determined, they like to figure things out on their own. This one is a little difficult for us because we like to navigate through challenges and come up with our own solutions. But I'll tell you this much. Life is so much easier when you move forward with someone who has already been down the path that you're headed. Find a mentor. Find a coach who has been down the path that you desire to go. And link up with someone who's credible. You don't want to link up with someone who's never done what you are attempting to do. If you have a goal to become a high-level attorney, find a coach, find someone who's already in that position, who not only can guide you along the way, but someone who can guide you and help you avoid some of the pitfalls that are part of your journey. Many of the hardships I endured could have been avoided had I had a mentor or coach in my life. So find a mentor, find a coach, and once again, find someone who's credible. If your goal is to become a successful business owner, find a successful business owner who doesn't mind coaching you. And if you have to pay that individual to coach you, do so. They're going to pass on knowledge to you in a very short time that would have otherwise taken you years to learn. So find someone credible. When I say a coach, when I say a mentor, it's not any person. Credibility matters. You want to find someone that's reputable and someone that's excellent at what they do. You want to find someone that's the best in their field. And once you've found this coach, do exactly what that person says. That's the coach, that's the mentor you want. If your goal is to become a millionaire, find someone who has a track record of making millions of dollars, someone whose portfolio you can look at in real time and see that they have millions of dollars. People who are winning don't mind showing you their winning hand, because guess what? You learning their winning hand is not going to take anything away from them. They have developed so many different strategies for winning that they can show you one formula and then implement 1,000 different formulas to accomplish the same thing or greater. Number 6, persist. Don't stop. Continue. Keep going. Keep looking forward. Do it over and over and over again, whatever it is. Repetition, repetition, day after day, day after day. Block out everything else and do it over and over and over and over. Engage in that activity relentlessly. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Even when you don't feel like doing it, persist. Keep at it. Your success is contingent upon persisting, being relentless, engaging in that behavior day after day after day after day. A dogged determination to keep going no matter what obstacles are in your way. You took that test the first time, you did not pass. That's fine. Keep studying. Keep studying. Keep at it. Take that test again. I knew this lady who was trying to get certification to teach in high school. She failed the certification test, I think, 8 times. And she just kept studying, studying, and studying. She found new ways to study. She learned about herself in the process. She's like, oh, I thought I learned this way. I actually realized I learned that way. She kept at it. She kept at it. And I think on try number 10 or 11, she passed. And now she's a successful certified teacher, living the life of her dreams because she persisted. She did not quit when things got hard. She did not throw in the towel when things did not go her way. Every instance of what we call failure took her closer to the accomplishment of her desire. And guess what? She's there. So whatever it is you want to be, whatever it is you want to do, whatever it is you want to have, it doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter where you came from. Some of us came from challenging backgrounds. Some of us came from easier backgrounds. Regardless of that, if you want to change your life, you can. So we're talking about the 6 ways to change your paradigm. Step number 1, know what you want. Step number 2, know where you are. Step number 3, know where you're headed. Step number 4, move in that direction. Step number 5, find a mentor or a coach. Step number 6, persist. And remember, whatever follows I am, you become.